Hello everybody and welcome back. As always, I am Mateo311. With the recent release of so many high quality VR titles and more on the way coming soon, it is a great time to be a VR gamer. Unless of course, you're broke. Maybe that recent Valve Index purchase broke the bank. But don't worry guys, I have you covered. Today, I have a list of VR mods that will help you get more mileage out of your headset. Now the mods I'm talking about will turn classic flat screen games into proper VR titles. All titles and download links will be listed in the description if you don't feel like listening to me, but if you do at least appreciate the fact that I put this list together, go ahead, give me a thumbs up, and maybe leave your comments on the mods I may have missed. Now I'm ranking all of these mods based on a special coolness factor that I've put together, and this includes how well the actual mod works and how easy it is to set up, the quality of the overall game you will be playing in VR, and how much you're actually going to have to pay here if you don't already own this title. I am not including VR versions that require you to make a completely separate purchase. So no Borderlands 2, no Skyrim, no Fallout, LA Noire, none of those titles. Now lowest on the totem pole only because it's not really a game, but that's the Dota VR Hub. If you are a big Dota fan, you can experience the game in VR, but this is only for spectating. It's a free DLC, get it right on Steam, check off the DLC box, and when you launch the game, it'll ask you if you'd like to use VR mode. Now the next group of games are all classics from my childhood. You can play the original Doom, Doom 2, Heretic, Quake, and Wolfenstein in VR. All of these mods work surprisingly well, and if you're an older gamer like me, it's an extreme dose of nostalgia. But on the other hand, these are very old games, so they are quite shallow, there's not a ton of content, they're not very long. Now some of these you can download directly off the internet. The legality is questionable, but that is a perfect segue into the next title, which is Doom 3. So you could get the whole Doom collection, the BFG package, off of Steam for $20, which includes all the Doom games, and Doom 3 in VR is an amazing experience. It is a long, full-fledged game, and playing through this game in VR is much better than its original flat screen release. Installing the mods for all of these games are fairly simple, and in some cases they're actually just a direct download. Moving up on the coolness scale brings us to Alien Isolation. Now the VR mod is called Mother VR, and this is an extremely intense experience. But you have to point out a few issues with this mod, and the first is, one, it's not fully finished or highly polished. Also, playing this game in VR might be a bit too intense for many people. But the biggest issue with this mod is the fact that the cutscenes will physically pull you out of your body, and that can cause some severe motion sickness to many people. So if you are brave and have your VR legs, I do recommend you check this out. Now the next group of games all have official and free VR mods. So if you purchase the game at any point in time on flat screen, you now own the VR version. And those games include The Forest, No Man's Sky, Payday 2, and Hellblade. Now The Forest and No Man's Sky had some rocky launch issues but are in much better states now. No Man's Sky still has some issues, but it is definitely an amazing experience in VR. And Payday and Hellblade are easy recommendations. Now Hellblade, you're going to need a beefy machine to run it, but if you can run it, it is a beautiful game and an amazing experience. Now the next mod would have taken the first place mantle, however, due to the number of issues that users experience with it, the potential for motion sickness, the complexity in installing it, it only took second place. And this mod is for Grand Theft Auto 5. Now it's not the hardest thing to install, but there is a decent amount of instructions to get this to run perfectly, and even then, multiple users are complaining about a myriad of problems. But when you do get into Grand Theft Auto 5 in VR, there's nothing quite like it. It's a virtual world in virtual reality. That was the sound of my brain blowing up. Alright, here it is, my favorite VR mod, everybody, and this is going to be HalfLife in VR. The original HalfLife is a game that every person should play. Now, every title I have listed above was for PCVR, but this also has an Oculus Quest version that is fully playable. You could just simply install it via side quest, and the PC version is not hard to install either. The game runs and looks great, but one of the best parts is you're getting an amazing title in VR. Even though we're starting to see some of these amazing titles like Asgard's Wrath release, there's no story-driven first-person shooter in VR that competes with Half-Life. And if you're a younger gamer who just got into VR, you've probably never even played Half-Life. So you owe it to yourself to download this game, install the mod, and get into it. One little added bonus here, guys. If you happen to own Serious Sam in VR already, you have to download the Duke Nukem mod. It is absolutely amazing. So I'm hoping you already own some of these games, or you can pick them up for super cheap, and they just give you something to hold you over until you can afford one of these next new big VR titles like Stormlands. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead, give it a thumbs up. I know there's a lot of other titles that I didn't include. These are some that I personally tested and would stand by, but I'm sure I missed some good ones, so let me know in the comments. And as always, I will see you guys on next time.